So this is day one of my sugar-free lifestyle, and right now I've got half an hour until an event starts for the other channel that I've got to do something with. And usually default for myself right now will be to go to the dairy and get myself something to eat. I've never been in this position before. My go-to is usually Big Ben pies. They're cheap, they're filling. If you have more, well, if I have more than one, I usually need two. I used to need three. I'm cutting down. I probably shouldn't do that. I mean, last time I read the pie packet, when I was looking into doing all this, it does say that it has less than 1 gram of sugar, and I don't actually think it has sugar in the ingredients specifically. I don't know what it is. Like, there's a whole stigma around eating pies and what that could mean. I can't even blame it on coming from road work, which was my profession a long time ago, travelling around doing traffic control for different roadwork sites, popping into a dairy or into a bakery on the way to site, on the way home, or just down the road to go for smoko. The go-to was always to go grab a pie from a dairy. So easy right now to just waltz in there, but I'm trying to sort of alter my mindset, especially after what I've learned about sugary food and contents, and actually how addictive it could be. I have to admit, I definitely know it's an addiction to immediately turn to that stuff or feel the craving for it at certain times, particularly when my moods are low. That's what I'm trying to break here. So first time I have to actually physically think of in my mind, what is it that I'm going to eat? I've got no idea what to look at. Especially in a dairy, it's probably not even the best place to look in. I need to be at a supermarket, but there's... Wow. Okay. Sheesh, I need to work something out. It's only just started. Well, I went in and I came out with something. I'm not at the point yet of feeling comfortable enough to be able to take the camera into the shops and have a look around, but it's a dairy, so there's a lot of chips and biscuits and sweets and all sorts of quick, easy snack type things. I came out of there with a bottle of water, and I didn't read the ingredients. I just trusted because it's a bottle of water. Yep, definitely no sugar. Guess doesn't do too much for the hunger side of things, but it counts, I guess. Well, it's almost 6 p.m. in the evening now, still day one. Decided I need to get a little snack. I went to the dairy, actually got something, I already know, not the healthiest choice, but it still has 0.1% sugar, 0.1 gram of sugar. But more importantly is, in the ingredients, it actually doesn't state sugar in there, which I think is, from the sounds of things, the most important thing. I'm actually more proud of myself because I went for the little tiny one instead of the big long ones that are only like 3/4 full anyway. But that's just a little something to try and hold me over until I get home. I know my decisions can be probably a little bit better, but I don't know. It feels like you're running out of options at a dairy. So I've been going for a little over a week now, and I have to admit it's not as difficult as I expected it was going to be. So my go-to for breakfast for pretty much the entire time has been eggs in some form or another, toast and avocado. For the longest time now, I've refrained from having white bread, like white sliced bread. And my go-to brand for the longest time has always been Freya's soy and linseed. And all I've done this time is I've changed that up from the soy and linseed that I used to get to this green packaging here, which is the 35% lower carbs, less carbs. Probably going to do scrambled, I think. The thing that I've actually been struggling to work with the most is my portion sizes, because, well, majority of my life, as long as I can remember, a standard breakfast for myself would be 4 eggs, 4 toast, and it's all very well to say that while the main goal at the moment is to avoid sugar as much as I can, I know arguably bread, even milk, will be broken down into such things. But I've come to learn that over the last week, what I'm actually undertaking here is a no added sugar lifestyle. The first few days were, again, not as difficult as I expected, but still had its challenges. I had a massive headache for like the first 2 days, pretty much almost straight. Not to the point that I wasn't able to function. I was still able to go out and do things that I needed to, like for the other channel or whatnot. But it was always there. It was just always constantly pounding. So that was something that I think sort of indicated to me that the changes that I were making were having an effect. I really did question myself when it came to eating that little can of potato chips. But as for avoiding sugar itself, it really hasn't been that bad. Aside from the headaches those first 2 days. In terms of our household, this is something that I'm just doing for myself. My partner, she is super supportive, and I like that she's still comfortable enough to be able to do and have the things that she likes. So for instance, in the fridge here, we've still got a whole heap of different kinds kinds of chocolates, which are there just for her. She's also got a song that she loves to hum at the moment, and it's probably just because sugar's like at the tip of our tongue for almost every conversation that we have now, because we're actively checking labels and all that sort of thing together to make sure that what I'm putting into my body doesn't contain any of those particular ingredients. But so cute. She keeps singing that sugar, do 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 do. That's like her go-to song now. Put the eggs in. Going scrambled today. Toast is popped. I'm still bad when it comes to butter. At least for now. Absolutely no way I'm planning to do without that. Eggs on the plate. I do like the egg scramble too. Might only be 2 eggs, but it feels like it goes just that little bit further. Avocado always does quite well to, I feel like, fill out any of the gaps that I'd be missing out on. I do have to eat the whole avocado though. That's mainly because I don't know how to preserve the other half of it. But as far as breakfast go for pretty much the whole last week, and to be honest, I don't think that I would ever get sick of it. 2 eggs, 2 toast, and 1 massive avocado, and a sugarless hot drink. Whew. Wow. Very quickly, this shouldn't take too long, but I'm on day 14 now. It's the 14th of January. So it's been 2 whole weeks since I started this journey, but my hot drinks are still black more often than not. And actually, while I think in the last time I filmed something for this video, I actually had milk, I since looked at the bottle and, you know, the nutritional information in it showed a sugar content of like 12 grams for every, and as for lunchtime today, I'm actually trying something quite a lot different. I got salmon, I think it's just smoked salmon, which didn't have any sugar in the ingredients, or any types of sugar that I was able to recognize. Nowadays I'm eating brown rice, which apparently is supposed to be better for me than compared to white rice, and I feel like I absolutely can't do without some form of carbs. But one thing that I'll say, up to this point in time, I've got a whole new appreciation for food. I don't know, it just feels like that everything now that I eat just hits a little bit different. The other thing that I'm finding as well, because as you might know or might remember, I'm a diabetic, and because of the previous habits, I feel like my sugar levels are probably always a lot, and I mean a lot, higher than they should have been. One of the side effects that went along with that was I always found myself incredibly thirsty, like all the time. I would get back and I'll scull a big bottle of water down in like seconds, and sometimes it'll feel like it, you know, no matter how much I drank, it was never enough. But now it's a lot different. I have to actually consciously remind myself to drink because I don't get thirsty anymore. Well, at least like that. But nowadays it's not uncommon for me to go without fluids for an extended period of time and then realize that I haven't had anything to drink, or that I'm dehydrated until I've gone to the loo and seen the color of what's come out. So I don't know. I think I probably need to look into an app or something. There's probably apps out there that will remind you to drink water. But I know that the more water I can get in, the better it's going to be for me as well. So definitely need to improve there. So far right now, I haven't taken any photos of myself. I haven't weighed myself on any scales or anything. I don't know how heavy I am. And a large part of this is because I done that in the past. And I don't know what it is. It could be just a me thing, but there has been times in the past where I've tried different things to help myself lose the weight. And it gets to a point where I see a little bit of a result and it starts to look good. And then it's like my mind tells me that, oh, that's enough. And then I slowly start slipping into old habits, and then I end up back where I am. So right now, the only real metric, or I guess 2 metrics that I'm sort of going off to measure my progress, is how I feel. And the second one is actually the condition of my skin, because I've definitely noticed some improvements there. Today, for instance, I haven't applied any creams to my arms at the moment, so they're actually looking quite dry. But at the same time, it's probably the flattest that I've seen it in a little while, which is quite exciting for me. But there's a lot of things that can sort of, you know, help improvements to the skin. One, and not the least of them, what I'm putting into my body, so much as the amount of sunlight that I'm exposed to. Other factors like stress is actually a really big one. But yes, actually, if I was just to pull away the flaky bit on the outer edge there, to me that almost looks normal. And it's definitely not getting as flamed as it used to be. I'm genuinely quite excited about this. So anyway, reason for me making this update at this point in time right now is because in a couple of hours, I have a doctor's appointment. The first doctor's appointment that I've had in probably like good 5 or 6 months. And I'm pretty sure that during that time, they're going to want to take my sugars, do the whole blood pressure, take my weight, that sort of thing. So I may be able to come back with some sort of a starting point or a new metric to measure my progress against. Main reason for that appointment is I've got to reduce some meds for the psoriasis. So the only medication that I'm actively taking for it at the moment is an injection that I have to do once a month, and it's called Consentix, which, as I understand it, I'm going to be on for the rest of my life to control the symptoms, or to help control the symptoms. To be honest, that's probably one of the big things that's helping me at the moment as well. Not so much that I'm just taking the medication, but I feel like maybe my body's in a bit of a better condition to be able to help that treatment to be a lot more effective. So for now, I really just need to make sure that I'm able to keep up with the things that I know are working well, but most importantly, try and prevent myself from slipping into old habits when it looks like I'm doing well. I need to tell myself that it's not just about putting in the work to get good and healthy. I then need to maintain it. Otherwise, there's no point to this. Okay, well, this is going to be the first update video. A few random clips from the first couple of weeks. As for how I'm feeling, I'm actually feeling really good. A lot better than I thought I was going to. The cravings are there. They're definitely there. They're up and down. My partner's still having her chocolates every night next to me, and she actually hasn't been singing the song the last couple of days. But either way, it's been fine. I'm genuinely surprised that I'm not fazed by it. For now, thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions for any foods that I might be able to try sugar-free, let me know down in the comments. Or even perhaps if this is something that you've decided to start at the start of the new year as well. We'll see you again in a few weeks.